Before I start this video, I'd love for you to comment below in a sentence or two what you think the future of the gaming industry will look like. Is it going to be better for players? Are there going to be smaller games? Or will it be totally worse? Let me know, and then let's see how our views compare. So I feel like the gaming industry is about to see some shifts, and it shifts over the years, but I feel like this past week with Sony, with Astro Bot, Concord, the PS5 Pro, really shows kind of a blueprint of what things might be looking like going forward. I could be totally wrong, but in the last 2 generations, I feel I've noticed patterns, and as of lately, the gaming industry is hitting sort of a breaking point in terms of capacity, quality, and sustainability. I'm currently 27, and I've been playing games since I was probably around 7, so 2 decades is a decent amount of time to see an industry change. I feel like in the last year alone, things have been shifting, and I want to use Sony as a micro case study of what could happen going forward. Sony has had quite a month. It started with, and then we went to, and now we're at,
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Intel has told us there are at least 7.
Okay, I already see one. Give him.
They're the same picture.
I actually just finished Astro Bot and had a nice time. The game is short, the polish is there, the mechanics are smart, the visuals are fun, and most importantly, the game was made by 60 people, and it was made in 3 years. Now, I can't really get a reliable source on budget, but I'm seeing somewhere between 50 to 70 million. This in contrast to Concord, which had reportedly over $100 million budget and sold less than 25,000 copies. Remember, none of this is totally for sure, but these are estimates by a few sources I found online. What we can know for sure is Concord had a team of 120 plus and took 8 years to develop, while Astro Bot had a team of 60 and took 3 years. One of those games cost way more than the other in time and money, and only one of those games is even available to play today. Now, while I'm 100 million% certain Concord is not dead like some people believe, I do think Sony quickly decided to course correct and will eventually make it free to play and maybe change some aesthetical stuff. All this said, Astro Bot presents an interesting vision of the future. What if games were made smaller scale, and what if they didn't have to have the most hyper-realistic art directions? Don't get me wrong, I love hyper-detailed games like Red Dead 2, God of War, etc., but what I love more than anything in gaming is sustainable jobs for developers, and I mean that. This is all going to come down to sales though. If Astro Bot doesn't sell well, then games like that most likely won't be supported by PlayStation, as sad as that is. But Astro Bot needs to sell a lot less in order to be successful due to the budget and team size. Good reviews and prestige are one thing, but Sony will value profit above all. Nevertheless, clearly gamers weren't interested in a pseudo live service like Concord, but will they be when it goes free to play with microtransactions? I really can't wait to see everyone complain about Concord again when they add battle passes and all the other stuff that we've come to expect. Yet, Concord tried to go the pay once and keep playing route and nobody bought it. The industry has already changed, and I think players of multiplayer shooters expect free entry. But my question is, would a microtransaction-filled Concord outsell Astro Bot? Time's gonna tell on that, but I'd like to hope that Astro Bot sets a nice standard. Do I want all my games to be like Astro Bot? Absolutely no. I mean, I just finished Star Wars Outlaws, and I love those kind of massive, open games. Even scaling games down a bit to make them more manageable for devs would be a good thing. So I ask again, what do you think? Do you feel like these trends and with all these layoffs that have happened between developers, do you think we're going to start seeing some smaller scale, or do you think we're going to be getting a lot of the same? I don't know, with the failure of Concord, I kind of feel like that trend of the multiplayer live service thing is slowly starting to die out because there's just too much. We can't keep track. We can't even keep up with all these games. I mean, you really just have to choose between a couple of them and then go with it. So I'd be curious to see what things are going to look like in the future. Now, one last thing I want to touch on before I go is the Astro Bot photo mode. Yep, it's got one, but you likely wouldn't know until playing about half of the game. I'll be frank, this photo mode is terrible. Not even just because the toolset is limited, which sucks, but I understand it's more of a gimmick than anything. No, it's awful because you have to wait so long. Why am I having to play through the God of War inspired level and not able to snap photos? Madness. This should have been something you get from the first mission. And here's the thing, I typically clear out levels 100% when playing, so I don't really have the most incentive to return. Astro Bot is actually quite beautiful, and I would have liked taking photos throughout my journey. Oh well, I've got Star Wars Outlaws to fulfill that, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.